Right, I've got this thing here. I thought it might be quite interesting to make a video. It is old and it is a Vitalator. There it is, and it's not working at the minute. Main reason for it not working is it's not got a plug on the end. But there's a reason for that, and it's probably best that it hasn't got a plug on because it's quite dangerous. The wire is corroded. You might not be able to see, but the plastic on the inside of the wire is all very soft and very easy to break away. So what it is, it's a EverRay, violet ray high frequency generator. And you can see here this lady is rubbing her back with it with one of these various attachments here. And there's sort of squashed elliptical thing, a straight one with like a comb adapter, and then there's another one with a sort of sausage on a stick, and then one with a coil inside. And it's made by Rogers. It's a Rogers Vitalator. It's got some controls on it. It's got voltage control. We're obviously this side, we're 240 volts. And then increase and decrease. So I don't know what we're increasing or decreasing, but that's the way you do it. And then there's a knob in the middle there with no indication of what that might do. The knob in the middle, it's sort of a bit grindy. It sort of does that sort of amount of turn that you can see there is probably a third, maybe something like that of a circle. Serial number there, 4290, type S, made in Britain. Something to be scared of. And there's the address of the British manufacturer, Holborn, 45 Great Ormond Street. Okay, and increase and decrease has got it doesn't look very well lined up. You can see it oscillating there, but that's probably about a full turn. Then we've got this thing here, which with the various attachments will go into, or would have gone into, and this again is where we can see a big problem with this. I've unscrewed that now, and you can see that it's got this cap here, this sort of I think it's Bakelite, this material. Pippa's wanting to chew the wires. Look at that. Now this is another problem that's happened as the years have gone by. We can see here that the plastic again is corroded inside this. Now you can see here where the wires are crossing. The neutral wire is bared, and so is the positive. So I think someone's taken the plug off as a precaution. But I've actually got some replacement wire. Yeah, I've got some replacement wire, but I want it to look authentic. Now this wire here is very dark and black, and it's fabric coated, very similar to what you get on an iron. So I bought some wire from eBay. Now this is the wire I've got from eBay. It's very similar in construction, and you can see a bit here where it's frayed. I've got 2 cores, selected that. A lot of them are 3 cores and have that extra earth wire. As the device is made of wood, it's not a serious issue for having an earth wire in there. I've got some nice hard plastic now on those, but it's very bright. It's very white and bright. So what I'm going to try and do is soak it in some tea or coffee, or tea and coffee. I'll see if I can get that colour to be a bit darker and make it a little bit more authentic. Dark soy sauce. 3 tea bags. I'll leave this in for a few hours now, and then I'll come back later. Okay, well while the tea bags are stewing, I thought I might as well tear this down a little bit and get you guys so you can have a look inside it. And also I'll disconnect these old wires that have perished inside where the plastic's gone all weak. So I'll remove all that, and then we'll be prepared, ready for our new stained old looking wire. Just these 4 screws on the top. That's all I can see that you can disconnect, so I'll remove those now. Just a comment, if you're ever taking anything like this apart and you have got the unfortunate luck of having flat head screws, you must be very careful not to slip out, because this is in very good condition, and if I slip out across this this shiny surface here, it will easily scratch. So what I like to do is just surround the screwdriver with my index finger and my thumb like that, and then that will help keep that screwdriver central. I'm just gonna, I won't be able to video me taking the screws out, but that's what I'll be doing. Okay, you can see I've removed the 4 screws now, so I'll just see whether it's loose. It does look slightly loose there, you can see it moving relative to the outside, so I'll just see what wants to come. I'm going to be quite careful, I've got nothing really to grab hold of. Might just take a look underneath just to make sure. Yes, there, missed 2. So I'll disconnect, I'll unscrew these now in the same manner, again being careful not to scratch the board. Another hint, you can see here I've got 2 screws of one size, and then there's 4 of a slightly longer length. Now sometimes what I like to do is lay out the screws in the way, the orientation that they came out of the device. This sometimes helps you with knowing which screws go in where if they are different types. This is very important with things like mobile phones. If you're taking a mobile phone apart, and the screws are very tiny, but also there'll be different threads and lengths. Okay, I'm going to try and remove this main body now, and oh yes, that's definitely free, so yeah, that's definitely wanting to come out. Oh, there we go, yes, completely free. And there we go, there's our wooden box. And there we go, there's the main body of the Vitalator. I'm just going to tip that on its side now and see what's inside of it. Wow, there we go, it's quite simple. There's a coil of wire there, variable resistor here, where you've got a control, and there's 2 of them, there's one each side. Then it looks like a capacitor, a 0.8, I think that's microfarad, even though it's a big M. I think back in the old days, that is microfarad. So 0.08 microfarads, type 2, 3000 volt. And then again you can see these wires come in here, and this is quite weak. It's not as bad as the stuff that has been exposed, and maybe a little bit more to the elements, but this is very easy to just tear off. It's gone very brittle. Again here it's got some within this coil there's some hard plastic here. I don't know what will have corroded and what maybe is not suitable for having voltage anywhere near it. Who knows what happens to these after a few years. It's not soft and brittle, it's still quite firm, but I am a little bit skeptical about whether I should put 240 volts anywhere near this thing. Just in case you were wondering, I've now put the cables on the correct side. So the cable that is the handheld wand, the Bakelite wand, is on this side. So you can see that comes off the capacitor there, and the neutral side is off that tap there, that one there. And then the plug, the mains input voltage, which is this wire here, goes in, comes in this side, and then goes across these 2 bolts here. What I might do is try and draw a basic schematic down, which may help you. Yeah, I think I'll probably do that, just so I've got in my head a rough idea of how it works anyway. You can see there, one side of that capacitor goes straight in from the mains, straight back out to the wand. Anyway, I've had a basic analysis of the circuit as what I can see. It's not 100% accurate, it's hard to know what's going on in this coil here. And also in the wand here, I'm guessing there is something, maybe another coil in here. It's got the electrode at the end there to contact onto the various attachments here, each having a silver, having a metal base to contact that electrode. Let's just go through the schematic a little bit. So you got the live and neutral there coming in, There's switch there between sort of, it says 100, 125, 200, 250, which is this arrangement at the back. There you go, just switch the light on, you can see that better, and that's the incoming live there, and that's going to that terminal post, and then it's got this very basic three-way switch, two-way switch, so at the minute it's off because it's pointing back to itself. It obviously can go into there to send it down one track, which goes up to one part of the coil, and then you see another wire there which comes from the other side of the switch there, that goes up there like so. Next bit, there's this 0.08 microfarad capacitor that goes across the neutral side and also goes into after this adjustable gap. So we follow on past the coil, which I think is acting like a transformer this side. It goes through a variable resistor, which is two variable resistors ganged together, which you can see here. It's got that metal, solid piece of metal in the middle, and then it's got two of these. You might not be able to see the other one very well, but you can see this one quite well. Yes, it's got these, which I'm guessing is resistive wire wound to increase the resistance. Then the next interesting bit is this adjustable gap here. Now if I just tilt the unit here, you might not be able to see very well in here on a phone. I'll just put the light on now, that's much better now. You see the centre of the screen there. I will wind that gap up there. It's not quite in focus, but you should be able to see that that's pitted and corroded. And that would have been where the sparks have been going across, so hopefully when we plug it up, being very safe, we might be able to see that spark jumping across, which would be pretty cool. I'm going to have a go now at putting in the new wire. I don't think it's stained very well from previous operation that I've been doing. Well, I've pretty much given up trying to make this cable look anything like this cable. You see this still looks quite modern and quite stylish actually. It's got those little blue flecks in it. But this I've tried, I've actually rubbed it through mud outside, just had a couple more good ideas. I could have put it through the coal bucket or some engine oil. We've got a camper van, probably could have dropped the oil out of that, but I just want to get going with this. So there we go, it's dried off now. I'm just going to prepare the ends are frayed a little bit, but that doesn't matter because it's long enough anyway. So I'm going to trim them back and start lacing it up into this device. And again, have a quick look at this, how bad this is. Yeah, it's so frayed there. And also here, they've just put a knot in it, which I'll probably do the same thing just to get that, just to protect the wear and tear. Not that it's ever going to be used again in anger, but just to give it that sort of authentic feel. You see they've made these little loops of the cable which go over these posts here. I'll just see how I get on with that. I haven't got any spade terminals anyway, so it will be this sort of arrangement. Okay, one good thing to remember is try and post your cable through the end of things before you start getting too carried away. It's amazing how many times you forget these things, but you know, I've obviously got a free end the other end as well at the minute, but it's good to get into that habit, because when I go through the back of this unit here, I won't have a free end, so it will be quite tricky. It's a bit tatty around the side there. I've just cut the outer back. Now on the original there was some of this sort of black fabric tape, so what I might do is try and get some heat shrink around this if I've got any of the right size, and it will just tidy that up a hell of a lot. Found some that will go on the end there. That I'm not going to put that much on, that's about twice as much. I've got some for both this and the other connection that I'll be doing around the back. What I've got is this cheap Chinese unit here, and I'll turn off the soldering iron and turn on the heat gun there. It says SMD rework, but it works well as a heat gun too. It's also got a sensor, so it won't start heating until it's off that holster. Okay, that's tidied that up a bit. Hopefully I've got enough play in those wires just to create two little small spade type terminals. Well, what I've gone for is a couple of spade terminals like this, but what I'm going to do is solder the join so they're a bit stronger. There we go, that's it, all soldered up. So you can see they're sort of authentic because they're twisted wire to create the loop, and they're a bit safer than not having any join at all. It'd look silly with modern spade connectors. Also, I haven't got any, so I want to get it done. You can also see I've made a right mess of that again, so I'll have to look at try and do some sort of heat shrink again on that. Now there we go, the terminals are finished and I'm quite happy with those. Very clean, very tidy, not going anywhere because of that solder. Brilliant. Here's the finished wand. I've basically put an authentic knot in. There's the cable tie, the cable spades that I've made with the soldering iron, a bit of heat shrink, and then yeah, I've put the authentic knot in. Obviously this is made before the times of any sort of cable clamps. That's the completed wand with its fresh, smelly, stained cable. Okay, the next bit is to exchange this bit here, again knotted at the back there. It's got a bit of that tape on. I'll put a bit of heat shrink in there on that terminal, and the other one goes, change that one there, goes to that centre post there, which eventually is off this variable resistor. Okay, so that one there. I will then put the wand onto these 2 points there and there. Okay, got that in. Wand is all knotted up around the back there and it's wired up back to where it was. Now I have noticed that there is a few of these little bits breaking out of this wire here, so what I'll do there, just disconnect one end, just slide a bit of heat shrink over it. Don't want to do too much though, so these ones that are sort of fabric covered I will leave as they are. This one does seem to be some sort of plastic. It may have been looked at later on in its life. Okay, right, I was going to just slide a bit of heat shrink over it, but it's frayed so much here that I think I'm just going to replace that piece of wire with another piece of wire. As I was trying to slide that plastic outer off, it just crumbled. I think there's a right decision to swap that out anyway. I've replaced that wire. I've just soldered it that end, just soldered it into that same joint, and then just twisted it round there on the post. Just notice that some of this wire is actually solid core. This straight from the mains in here is solid core there going up. There we go. I've made two more spade type connections with the soldering iron, heat shrunk that, put a knot in it. So I'm going to thread that through that hole and then put a plug on it. Okay, that's done. Right, I'm going to sort of tidy up the desk a little bit now and just make space for it. Then I'll plug it in and just stand back. Okay, right, I've just grabbed a random attachment. I've gone with this one with wires in. So that is, it's all wired in. I've just left it on the bench at the minute, just so I can see, maybe we can see something in that spark gap there. Just done a sort of final check just to make sure there's nothing loose or nothing dodgy in there. No more corroded bits of wire. I think we're good now. So I'm going to switch it on. Now I'm going to switch it on here already. It's in the wall already, but it's off, so neutral is coming through. But what I will do is I'll just switch it to the 240 volt position. So you have a look around the back there. You should see it is in position. See, yep, it's made contact there. I'm going to video the big moment. Okay. Nothing happened with that switch on. Maybe need to increase. What I've done is I've reduced the spark gap to about 1 millimetre. Again, no output. What I'm going to do is go maybe on that spark gap. So I'll go to, I'll get it touching and then I'll back it off a tiny bit. Yeah, it's definitely sub-millimetre. So, yeah. Ready. Oh dear. Okay. What I've done now is actually crank the variable resistor down to minimum. Oh, there we go. We've got a spark out of it. Lovely green one. Looks fairly green with the naked eye too. Although there's no output of the wand. I'm just trying to go on this. Makes a fairly hideous noise. And this rotary knob in the centre doesn't really have much effect. When you've got that spark up, this one does have a big effect. Yeah, as I've gone for the increasing side there, you can see that spark getting much bigger. It does actually look bigger through the phone lens than it does in real life. Okay, it'd be nice to see something out of this. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap this attachment for something else and just make sure it's fully in there. I might even open this up and just check that everything's going on in there as it should be. To do that, I'm actually going to disconnect it from the mains. I'm not going to trust that a neutral to earth shock won't kill me. There we go, we're disconnected, so I'm going to change this attachment. Okay, I've gone for the sausage type style one, so let's see if we get any joy with this. Plugs in. Yeah, the spark gap's going mental, but still. Yes, yeah, I can see it with my naked eye, and also the camera, yes. Maybe we need to crank it up a bit. Let's have a go. Well, there's some minor welding operation going on in there now, but still quite faint. I wonder whether the gas has gone in these tubes. It doesn't even mean, it's not even making it as far as the end, the actual sausage. It's only making it to the net. Oh, you can see in there. Oh, you see down the end there. Oh yeah, tell me a bit about it. Let's try another attachment. Yeah, this is not even visible at all now. Really got much going on whatsoever there. Right, what I'm going to do now is just try and clean that electrode in the centre of that circle there and just see whether that helps the sparks get out. Because I'm looking at it, there is actually a gap between this electrode and the base of the attachment. Well, I don't know that you can see, but now that does have a sort of slightly more coppery tinge to the outer bit there. And there is lots of green crud that has come off now. I don't know whether that's come off that or come off the scouring pad. Either way, I'm going to give it another blast. Well, I can tell you most of that green crud has actually come off the scouring pad. There you go, got a clean hole through it there. But let's give it another go. Well, unfortunately, it's not glowing much more purple. I've just found another interesting artefact. Now, I did touch this on my finger briefly, but if you look at this, you can actually get some arcing between the glass surface and anything that is remotely like Earth. Well, I've opened the curtains now. I think we're done with this. Just put it back inside the box now. And there we go, Roger's Vitalator.